My name is Danny and I'm a registered dietitian. It's a pleasure to invite you to my home today as I put together a very quick, simple, and delicious dish with ingredients from my pantry. So what we're going to make today is a tofu stir-fry. If you don't have tofu on hand, you can always use canned beans, and any type of beans in a can without salt and without any other sauces is absolutely fine to replace the tofu with. So I'll begin by using some vegetable oil, and what I'll do is I'll just heat the oil. I've already turned my pan on, so the oil doesn't have to stay in for too long until it gets hot. And then what I'll do is I'll add my first ingredients. So because we don't want to use a lot of salt, we're trying to be careful with sodium. I love using onion and ginger because those help flavor our food without adding any salt at all. So they kind of will taste really good to start as we fry them up. Onions keep a really long time in the fridge as long as you have them in a sealed bag and you've got a kind of a crisper to put them in. So you can buy them ahead of time and keep them for a really long time, which is great. And I've got some fresh ginger in there as well. So once that gets nice and kind of translucent, then I'll add the rest of my vegetables. So I've chopped up some carrots here, and carrots are great. They're low in potassium, and if you just slightly kind of fry them up with the bell peppers that I've used here, you get a really nice crunch to your meal, which also adds a lot of texture and variety to the dish that you're making. So I've just got some bell peppers here and carrots that are sauteing. And I'll turn my heat up a bit. So I'll just take a few minutes and saute that. When you're buying tofu, it's really important to look at the ingredients and make sure there are no phosphate additives in the packaging. Sometimes phosphate additives are used to maintain freshness, especially in perishable products like tofu. If you buy tofu and you're not ready to use it right away, I just freeze it in its original packaging. It's a really great way to extend its shelf life, and you can just keep it in the freezer till you're ready to use it and thaw it out like you would do meat. People are always worried that vegetarian proteins aren't going to give them the full nutrition as compared to animal proteins, but we no longer believe that that's true. Protein is protein, and so as long as you get the right amount throughout the day, you're going to have no trouble switching from a meat product to a vegetarian product. What I like about tofu as well is it's quite low in potassium, so it's actually a really good switch out for meat, which tends to be higher in potassium. So I just let the tofu brown, and you might want to turn your heat up a bit more than I've got here, just to grill it a bit and to give it a really nice crust. And once that's done, I'll add cabbage. The original recipe, which is available on Kidney Community Kitchen, called for bean sprouts, but some of our kidney patients cannot have bean sprouts due to the bacterial risk. And so I love using cabbage, and you can use any kind of cabbage that you want. Again, cabbage is really low in potassium, but it's super high in fiber. So it's a really great way to boost your fiber intake and to really, again, give that texture to your food that you wouldn't maybe otherwise get if you're using frozen vegetables. And again, cabbage, as long as you wrap it real tight, so I've got this cabbage already sliced here. If you wrap it up real tight with saran wrap and you just kind of tie the end, again, it keeps really, really well. So please don't cut it all up at once. Try to keep whatever you haven't cut and just seal, wrap it, and store it in the fridge again next to the other vegetables in the crisper. Perfect. Now we're going to add some of our sauces. So if you've got fresh lime on hand, lime is a beautiful flavor and it will add a lot of freshness to this dish. However, if you don't have fresh lime, you can always use a product like this, which again is much less expensive than a lime. This is about a liter of lemon juice, And this will stay in the fridge and can go in anything that you're making, from sauces to dressings to marinades. So this is a really nice, less expensive product to have on hand. I love using that, you know, in most of my sauces. So I'll add the lime juice. And then finally, I'll add some tamari. Tamari is a gluten-free version of soy sauce. What I like about tamari is you only just need a little bit. I just went around about a tablespoon for the whole dish. And because I got the light tamari sauce, it's got less sodium. So I really like tamari. I end up using less, and it's already a lower sodium product, so I'm getting a lot less sodium. And again, it's cost effective if I don't have to use as much. It will keep longer in the fridge, and I can use it again as a marinade or in a stir fry like this. So once all that has kind of on high heat, cooked for a bit, it's just ready to go. It's really that simple. All I need is some cooked rice. So I've done some brown rice here because I really like the nutty flavor of whole grains. And again, whole grains are a really great option. We used to tell people just to eat white rice, but now we're encouraging people to have whole grains. We know the phosphate in whole foods isn't as available as it is in processed food, so we really like brown rice. It's a great way to add fiber and flavor to your diet. So my last step is just taking the stir fry off the heat, and I'll just scoop it on my beautiful bowl that's already got the brown rice in it. And I make sure I've got enough protein to cover my needs, as well as enough vegetables to make sure it's about half a plate or about a cup at least. This is a perfect dish because it's just got such good balance of the protein and the vegetables in it already. I'll just put a few more carrots on top of it. And then finally, my favorite part is the garnishing. This is where you can really add a ton of flavor. If you like, you can just chop up some cashews. These are unsalted cashews that I've got here. But if you're already finding that's enough protein and you don't really want sort of a higher potassium nut on your plate, you can use sesame seeds. I love using sesame seeds. They're low potassium. They have such a great flavor, and I can just kind of put a couple of tablespoons on. And I love the crunch that they give. They're really an amazing ingredient to have around. So I tend to buy it from the bulk section and just have it on hand at home. And finally, I'll get some fresh basil. Fresh herbs are amazing. Again, they're low sodium, great way to add flavor, and just kind of experiment a little bit with different exotic tastes that you may not have tried before. So I hope you enjoyed this dish. Again, it's available on Kidney Community Kitchen. That's our website where we keep all our recipes. And I hope you enjoy trying to make this dish and kind of make it your own, experiment with it, and bon appetit.